Ladies and gentlemen, it is a privilege to stand before you today and speak on a matter that touches the very core of our daily lives. Whether we recognize it or not, each one of us is engaged in a battle. It is not a battle fought with weapons or armies. It is not a battle visible to the human eye. No, this is a deeper battle, a battle waged within the heart, the mind, and the soul of every man and woman who seeks to live a life of purpose, integrity, and truth. We live in a world full of visible challenges, economic pressures, broken relationships, political turmoil, and global uncertainty. But behind these visible struggles lies an even greater conflict, the struggle for the soul, the struggle between right and wrong, between truth and falsehood, between courage and fear, between love and hate. This is the arena where the greatest victories and the most tragic defeats take place. And often, we find ourselves caught in a cycle of internal arguments, wrestling with voices that do not lead us closer to peace, but rather pull us into confusion and despair. When we talk about demons today, I want you to understand that we are not merely discussing mystical beings or ancient tales from another time. We are speaking of the very real forces that seek to undermine your purpose and cloud your vision. These demons may appear as temptations that draw you away from your values. They may appear as persistent doubts that whisper that you are not enough, that you are too broken, too late, too small to make a difference. They may appear as fears that freeze you in place, keeping you from stepping into the life you were meant to live. Sometimes these battles come suddenly, like a storm breaking over calm seas. Other times they come quietly, subtly, like a seed planted in the mind, growing into a thorny vine that chokes out hope and joy. These are the battles that can be the hardest to recognize because they do not roar like thunder. They whisper in a voice that almost sounds like your own. And so many of us, without even realizing it, begin to engage them, to debate, to reason, to argue with the lies. We think, if I can just explain to myself why I am worthy, then maybe the doubt will leave. We believe, if I can reason my way through my fear, I will finally find peace. We assume if I can outsmart the temptation, I will overcome it. But what we must understand and what is vital for us to grasp is that these forces are not interested in reason. They are not moved by logic. They are not persuaded by clever arguments. Their goal is not to engage in a fair discussion. Their goal is to entangle, to confuse, to wear you down until you no longer remember what you are fighting for in the first place. Arguing with these inner demons is like arguing with the wind. No matter how eloquently you speak, no matter how sound your arguments may be, the wind will not listen, and it will not change. All you will accomplish is exhaustion and discouragement. You will find yourself drained, weakened, and wondering why you feel farther from victory than when you began. And so tonight I want to bring to your attention a simple, powerful truth. The goal is not to argue with the voices of doubt, fear, temptation, or despair. The goal is to recognize them for what they are, deceivers, and to refuse to engage, not through anger, not through bitterness, not even through loud proclamation, but through quiet, determined resistance. The temptation to argue is strong because we want to defend ourselves. We want to prove that we are strong enough, smart enough, good enough. But in trying to defend ourselves against lies, we are already stepping into a conversation we were never meant to have. We were never called to justify ourselves to darkness. We were called to walk in light. We were never asked to negotiate with evil. We were asked to reject it. We were never instructed to sit at the table and reason with fear. We were told to cast it out. Each moment spent arguing with a lie is a moment stolen from the pursuit of truth. Each moment spent debating fear is a moment not spent living courageously. Each moment spent trying to outsmart temptation is a moment when temptation has already succeeded in distracting you. And so I invite you, as we move further into this message, to open your mind and heart to a different way of fighting, a way that does not waste energy arguing with what is false, but instead builds strength in what is true. A way that does not spend hours and days caught in mental battles, but instead walks with steady steps in the direction of purpose and peace. We all face these struggles. No one is exempt. The question is not whether we will hear the voices of doubt, fear, and temptation. The question is how we will respond when they come. Will we step into an endless argument, exhausting ourselves trying to defeat shadows with words? Or will we recognize their nature, refuse their invitation to debate, and choose instead to stand firm and unshaken in the truth we know? Tonight, I challenge you to choose the second path, the path of strength, of clarity, of unwavering resolve. It is not always easy, but it is always right. And in the end, it is the path that leads not to exhaustion and defeat, but to victory and life. And so, ladies and gentlemen, as we gather our thoughts and set our hearts toward what is good and enduring, let me leave you with this final word. You were not created to argue with shadows. You were not placed on this earth to waste your strength debating with deceivers who never intended to listen. You were made for more. You were made to walk in truth, to stand in light, and to live with a strength that no lie, no fear, no temptation can ever overcome. When the voices of doubt come, and they will come, do not sit down to argue with them. When the temptations arise, and they will arise, do not reason with them. When fear knocks at your door, and it will knock, do not invite it inside to negotiate. Stand firm, stand tall. Let your life be your answer. Let your character be your argument. Let your steadfastness be your reply. The darkness does not flee from clever words. It flees from unwavering light. And so tonight, I call you to be that light. Refuse to waste your strength in fruitless debates. Refuse to let the deceivers steal one more ounce of your energy. Set your feet on solid ground and do not be moved. Stop arguing with demons. Live the truth. Walk in it. Stand firm in it. And you will find that the battles you once thought impossible are already won. Thank you. And may strength and peace guide your every step.